such an asshole.
I think all we're going to do is just, let me zoom in. All we're going to do is just exchange super chats with one another. I think that's all we're going to end up doing at the end of the day.
That works for me.
Yeah. Well, unless like all of a sudden I get, some $100 ones, then fuck you. But
Well, I did see Hat and Clogs in your last video.
Yeah, I know how he does it. Yeah, sure. $2 over. Chad's on. Oh, here's $5. Hope Hat's doing good. Haven't heard from him. I think people have kind of taken a little break from the internet, maybe, or maybe I've just been gone a little bit working on other shit. But I think some of the old gang was in the super chats earlier today. Let's get to this. I'll read the request. I'm glad you're here because I tried to read this. I couldn't make really heads and tails out of it. So I appreciate your expert background in this. Good afternoon, Aaron. I have a video request for you. I've been working on IT certifications and have gotten tied into Reddit threads for study help, as well as keeping an eye on the job prospects for the field. Remote work is a real concern for many IT workers, and in the last 2 years, there has been a trend that workers have reported on Reddit that they are getting denied remote work due to state taxes or are being told to convert from W-2 employees to 1099 contractors if they want to be digital nomads. All right, so let's stop right there. Is there anything wrong with switching from W-2 to 1099?
Not at all. I think that's actually a good opportunity for a lot of people.
Right. And I know this isn't exactly his question, but I want to answer this because he's operating on kind of some false premises that will confuse his analysis, but I can clear some of these things up. Chad, let me see if you got this here. Let me see if you can answer this. What is the main difference between, when it comes to compensation, what is the main difference between 1099 and W-2? Like when you're trying to evaluate a job offer and one is 1099 and the other is W-2, what's the main difference in compensation usually?
Well, there's two main differences, but I mean, the compensation tends to be a little bit higher because employers aren't forced to deal with the payroll taxes, Social Security and Medicare, and you can also deduct business expenses against the 1099 income. Is that what you're getting at?
Tax it. No, well,
yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of reasons, and we should list that. Like, look, when you're a 1099er,
you choose who you work with.
No, this is compensation. This is compensation.
Okay.
The only real difference compensation-wise is one and a half things. The main thing is usually, though not always, with W-2, what do they pay for?
Well, they pay for half of your Social Security and Medicare, and
which they could have just paid for you. Your benefits, right?
Yeah.
Health insurance. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So the health insurance is about the real main difference, and the other than second and a half would be that you get to write off a bunch of stuff and you have some savings that I would argue, if done right, usually you can ameliorate your cost of health insurance when you're self-employed. You also get paid per hour, so you're not salary. When you're salary, they're not screwing you over at 60 hours a week. And if you're younger, generally you could find some pretty affordable catastrophic health insurance. So if an employer came out to me and says, well, then you got to go 1099, do not be afraid of that. Make sure you're paid a high enough hourly wage that you can afford your health insurance. And I was a younger person. I'd be like, yeah, if that means that's the difference between me working for you and working remote, hell yes, I'll become 1099.
I just need to add something real quick. You also get to deduct your health insurance premiums that you pay out of pocket against your self-employment income. So
right. So I would not be afraid of them saying, well, if you want to work remote, you got to be 1099. Thank you. Goodbye.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's one thing we needed to correct. I did some research on my own and found this think tank paper that discusses the why around the situation. Of course, it is blue states pushing the issue. So here's where I get confused. He's saying on Reddit, they are getting denied remote work due to state taxes. So that I don't understand, where we can't pay you 1099 because of state taxes. That doesn't make sense.
It's not really jiving with me. I haven't heard that before.
Right. Because if you're a W-2 employee, they still got to pay your state taxes or save for it. And if you're 1099, you're supposed to pay it, assuming you're living in a state that has state income taxes. Now, he's talking about living in a no state income tax, and now California and New York and other Marxist leftist shitholes with parasitic people inside of them are trying to tax 1099ers who live in zero income tax states, I think is what he's saying. But your employers should not really care whether or not they allow you to work remotely or they require you to come into the office under a W-2. I don't see how state tax, because they're domiciled in the state that they're domiciled in, and how they compensate you would not have an effect on, well, we pay your state income taxes or we don't. It doesn't. There's something missing from this analysis, is what I'm saying.
If somebody's a 1099, meaning they're not doing anything payroll related with the company, that's really not the company's problem. Like,
Right.
you're a contractor, whatever, here's your 1099, and that's that. And there may be a reason why he's mentioning this, but I'll save that until we get into the article.
Right. Whose responsibility is it as a 1099er to pay your state and federal income taxes?
Yours, preferably on a quarterly basis, if you want to keep up,
And if you
throughout the year.
to the client, if you want, let me explain how you do this 1099 thing. Okay, Chad's new to this gig. I'll explain how you do this 1099 thing. You want to pay your estimated quarterly taxes the nanosecond. The second it becomes the next quarter, you pay those taxes up front. That's
I have about, just guessing, about 175 self-employed clients. Clara, you are the only one who does it the very first day you're eligible to do it.
and who's usually got his paperwork on your desk early, so you don't have to worry about it.
I cannot deny that you're among the best. By early February, we're done with you, generally, with your business and personal. I actually really appreciate that. Believe it or
So
not.
wait, you're arguing I should procrastinate on my taxes?
No, I'm saying you should not pay your quarterlies until the very last day that they're due.
That sounds like procrastinating on my taxes.
Doesn't your GF agree with me on this?
Well, no, I'm just trying to get this down. Okay, do you or do you not want me to procrastinate on my taxes?
I do not want you to procrastinate on your annual taxes. I don't want you to procrastinate.
Oh, so when it comes to you, I shouldn't procrastinate. But when it comes to the federal government, procrastinate all along.
I just want you to be able to either earn some interest or invest that money instead of giving it to the government earlier than you have to. That's always been my
It
argument.
is worth the lost interest to see all my friends pained by this. All of you. It's great.
Well, remember,
right.
Clary, I recently got yelled at for some guy failing to check his bank account. I lost the interest, but
don't you like how so do you want me to be responsible or not responsible? That's another question. I'm just confused. Which one do you want me to be?
I say listen to the accountants in your life, even ones you live with. That's my recommendation.
You are very confused morally, sir. All right. So he further writes, I did some research on my own and found this think tank paper that discusses the why around the situation. Of course, is blue states pursuing the issue. Can you review the article and let me know? First, is this a good thing or bad thing in your opinion if an employer is requiring a remote worker to be a contractor? And second, if you're a W-2 employee, whether so let's get through let's go through the article first, and then we'll go through his specific questions. Have you read the article that I sent?
You texted it to me. I didn't have a chance to read it in full.
Well,
where is it from again?
The National Taxpayer Union Foundation.
National Taxpayer.
And this is a couple years old. I'll just read it here so we can go ahead and states preparing a workaround for PL 86-727, a key taxpayer protection for interstate business. On Valentine's Day this year, California's Franchise Tax Board announced that it wanted what?
I hate them so much. Just go on. I hate California. I hate the
announced it wanted relationships with a lot more out-of-state businesses. Unfortunately for those businesses, the FTB's idea of a relationship is an expensive one, and it's not asking. In a recent guidance, the FTB announced that it intends to reinterpret an existing federal law in order to allow itself to impose income tax obligations on out-of-state businesses. Just a couple months later, New York's Department of Taxation and Finance followed suit with draft regulations largely mirroring those of the FTB. In doing so, these states could open the floodgates for the roughly 2.5 million online retailers who have to pay income taxes to many more states, vastly increasing compliance burdens. In the meantime, this sends a strong message to out-of-state businesses that they will use the most tangential of connections as excuses to grab at more tax revenue. The law being reinterpreted, PL 86-272, or the Interstate Income Act of 1959, prevents states from imposing income tax obligations on out-of-state businesses whose activities within the state is limited to solicitation of orders. In other words, a business located in Iowa could not be subjected to income tax obligations in California if it distributed a mail order catalog in California, so as long as the orders submitted by Californians were fulfilled from outside California. All right, so far, sounds commonsensical to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to try and rule on this early, but it sounds like a big old wish list of California that ain't going to come true, because tell me if I'm wrong, my business is in Iowa. California says we owe you income tax. You say, no, I don't. Go fuck yourself. Because as long as I don't go to California, they
Doesn't
can't come
matter.
out. Right. It doesn't matter. Now they could say, well, then you can't sell here in California. And if they're going to do this where I have to pay income taxes to you and I got to track it, fuck you. I'm not going to, I guess we don't do business in California and New York anymore. Am I
When we're done with
wrong
the
on
article, I got some stories for you about this, both
that?
pre
Okay.
and during COVID. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Though PL 86 was obviously written well before the internet existed, this principle applies to online businesses as well. After all, if an out-of-state business with a salesperson soliciting sales within a state still was afforded the protection of the Interstate Income Act, why would an out-of-state online business with nothing more than a website not be? Yet, as the Supreme Court's decision in South Dakota versus Wayfair represented the culmination of decades of state efforts to overturn the physical presence standard in a sales tax under Quill versus North Dakota, states now seem to be turning their attention to getting around PL. So they're talking about sales tax there, which I got to pay in South Dakota,
Yeah.
versus income tax now. That's a problem not just for the small businesses who stand to face yet more complexity in filing their taxes each year, but also for future of federalism and good governance. So then you'd have to fill out, if all these states come up with this idea, you'd have to fill out a state income tax for each of them.
Yeah. That's how you know this is never actually going to happen. But
I'll tell all you California, New York parasitic motherfuckers, come get me. I'll just, Chad, do I go to California now?
no. And
Do I go
you
to
never
New
should.
York? No. I will never set foot in your. That's fine.
I just got to say,
balls on
real
these
quick,
assholes thinking they could just like, oh, you citizen states over there got to pay us.
listen, the California Franchise Tax Board, they are just flat out evil and unscrupulous. They're worse than any type of Russian mafia, whatever. Like, they just fucking suck.
I think
hate
they're just mafia. They're just communists, right? They just want what? But what I'm trying to get at, I think this guy's got to worry about nothing, because I think you'd have a tax revolt if for whatever reason they came up with an actual enforcement mechanism for this.
They're not.
I think people would just be like, fuck you, I'm not doing business in California. Too fucking
Basically.
bad.
Yeah.
But am I wrong in thinking the FTB has all this pie in the sky bullshit they'll never be able to enforce?
I mean, they can try to like put forth all these ideas. You can then impose somebody, oh, well, you earned a little bit of your contractor income from a company in California. You have to file a California tax return. Make me.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
live
like
there.
literally send your agents over here, see what
Yeah,
happens.
make me.
Yeah, you're not legally here. Like,
No.
you're California. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, then it was California too. It was a representative there who wanted to tax California pensions. Like if you worked, I don't know, a teacher in California,
CalPERS.
and
Yeah.
you had a California pension, but then you moved to wherever it was, Virginia, and it doesn't have to be a no income state. Just you moved out of California. California still wanted to tax you. This guy wanted to tax you on your pension at California income tax rates. That's like, fuck off.
So we can't say who, obviously, but this is a client. This is years ago. I don't work with them anymore. You linked me up with them. It was her dad. That was an issue because they were drawing a California pension, but they lived in a different state. So the FTB was always on their ass like, well, this is a California pension. And so eventually we just started doing a California return. It was really frustrating.
What did you wait? Did you have to pay California taxes?
What happened was they were getting this pension plan was forcing, it was on a form 1099'R, which is like for pensions and IRAs and retirement account. It was insisting that California taxes are withheld. So they basically took it from you. And in order to get any of it back, you had to file. Yeah. Yeah,
So
that
what?
was so.
So this it further goes. You don't do any business with California. You don't become a teacher. You
No,
don't become a firefighter. You just I don't know how. Now my audience is we know, but God Almighty, fuck California. They
it's
literally think that you are their property.
there's no worse state from a state tax standpoint. Yeah, I don't like New York or
Yeah,
Massachusetts. Nobody is close to as bad as California.
yeah. No, I'd love to see them try. I'd love to see them try. That would be a line crossed. Like if I had California agents, I'd be like, what are you doing here?
Wait till you
I
hear what they were trying to do to contractors. I'll tell you.
Well, what were they
when
trying to do? I mean, what were they trying to do?
So this actually predates COVID. Like everybody thinks all this remote stuff happened, in 2020, 2021 or whatever. But
Mm,
before all that, I had certain clients that were getting letters from the state of California because they were independent contractors. They lived in Illinois. They were
mm,
Illinois residents, only owed taxes to Illinois, but they happened to have a California-based client. So
yeah.
California is just like, well, you earned some money from a business that was based in California. You
Mhm.
have to pay us. And the way they would do this was whenever a 1099 form would get issued, there's this box. It's box 17 where it has the state's payer number. You're not supposed to put California in there if you're not a California resident, but they were doing that anyway. And
Wow.
so they'd be like, well, do we need to file a return? And I'm like, well, nothing was withheld, right? No. Did you pay Illinois all this income? Yeah. Fuck them. We're not going to file a return.
Well, here's another and it goes to show you, okay, I don't know where's Bank of America located? Are they
Hmm. North Carolina, Charlotte. At least they
okay?
used to be. I don't
Is
know.
Wells Fargo?
I thought they were in
Where's
Denver.
I thought they
Are
were
they
in
not?
California. Hang on.
Wells Fargo? Maybe they are.
Wells Fargo, it's San Francisco, California. All right, so let
Oh,
me let
okay.
me give you an example. Let's say you have an account with Wells Fargo, right? You have nothing to do with California.
Yeah.
California decides, oh, your client was here and you owe us taxes. What could California do now?
Uh, I mean, I guess they could start siphoning off your bank
They could
account,
turn the
but I mean,
screws
isn't
on
that a
Wells
federal
Fargo.
thing? Is
Hey,
this not?
does it matter? California going to go do whatever. Like, this is why you can't have your banking done in California. You can't have your investments done in California. Um, there's a reason companies are leaving California, many reasons. But I'm saying as an individual, why you should just be like, no, we're not. You have
Agreed.
to make sure none of the tentacles of California reach out to you whatsoever. What's going on over there?
I mean, it's basically communist, right? Like
No,
they're
no, no.
broke.
What's that buzzing going on?
Oh, the idiot downstairs has their AC on, which makes no sense because it's 72 degrees today. Just open your window, fucker.
All right, go on about California.
Oh, I was just saying that, like, you know better than anybody how they're so incredibly broke because they're trying to give all their money away. So they're trying to attack people from other states to basically steal off people who are
Oh yeah,
productive.
it's hilarious the hubris and arrogance. Um, so background in the aftermath of Wayfair, the primary focus was on the impact that the replacement of a physical presence standard with economic nexus would have for sales tax compliance burdens. Yet NTUF warned early on that it would not be long before states attempted to apply this logic underpinning Wayfair to other taxes as well. Unfortunately, it took less than 2 years for that warning to be proven correct. Starting in 2020, Hawaii became the first state to effectively apply economic nexus standards under Wayfair to income taxes, claiming income tax power over any company engaging, and these numbers are just going to go down, engaging in 200 or more business transactions or deriving gross income of over 100,000 from Hawaii sources. Yet even here, Hawaii did not attempt to get around the protections offered to taxpayers under PL 86272. So I guess they're not enforcing it.
It's really hard to enforce this because it's like you said, oh, you owe us money. No, we don't.
No, I
We
don't.
don't live there. Hey, if a customer bought a piece of furniture from Wayfair from there, that's not our fault. We gave you the sales and local tax.
I know California and Hawaii and other parasitic leftist shitholes are not going to listen. Chad, how do girls get guys?
They're thin, pleasant, and know how to cook.
They're nice.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, physically, they're nice.
Yeah.
Do you think to get your economy booming and to get employers and investment and to drive up your tax revenues, what do you think you should do to the companies?
I think you should incentivize them to do business in your state.
You should be nice.
Nice.
Right. And people aren't even in your state and you're already treating them like shit. This is like a fat, loud chick. California, you're the fat, loud, tatted up, blue-haired, nose ring, herpes-infected fat chick with 3 other guys' kids trying to sue a guy who's never met you and saying, you owe me child support. Go fuck yourself. Like, literally, we're not your fucking slave, and that's what it is. You're trying to make everyone your slave. And be real careful, man. Be real fucking careful. Because the arrogance and hubris and trying to enslave these people. Somebody over here paid for a gallon of gas. Go ahead, see what happens. But heed me now. The reason this is going to backfire you, people are going to just start, whatever dwindling amount of companies are there, people are just going to stop working with you because they don't want to even be associated with this liability.
Can you see this?
Intuit TurboTax 2015. What about it?
I might have told you this. I did some 1099 work with Intuit during the tax season of 2015. So that's 1099. They pulled this crap on me back then. They're like, well, you earn this income in California, so you have to file a California tax return. You think I ever did that? And you think anything happened to me for not doing that? No. Yeah. Fuck them.
Look, they're not going to prosecute people that steal over below $900 worth of shit. They're not going to come after you in fucking Illinois or whatever for what? I mean, how many clients do you possibly have? Like maybe $50 under their lies that you owe them in terms of income tax?
Well, let's see. I do have a handful of California clients, but I mean, the beauty about what we're discussing right now is that one state is not going to go to bat for another state. So like Illinois, for instance, they got paid all the income I made. So California can send me all the letters. They can try to get me in trouble. The feds don't care. If you pay the feds, you're good. They can't really get anybody to go after me.
Well, here's the other thing. If you pay the California state income tax, who does it cost?
It costs Illinois because I have to claim
so Illinois ain't gonna. They're not gonna.
Yeah.
I know. Maybe all you Democrats could just all fuck off and go fishing. I mean, maybe get the fuck out of here. Let me continue on. That's what made it so significant when the Multi-State Tax Commission, an intergovernmental tax agency, published a statement expressing its views that taxpayers could forfeit the right to protection under PL 86 under some counterintuitive circumstances. Below is a list of activities that the Multi-State Tax Commission asserts would lose the business the protection of PL, along with the analysis of some of these points. 1, offering post-sale customer service via email or chat if it is initiated through a button on the business website. What?
What do they mean by that?
I don't know. That's why I needed you here, because it doesn't.
Can you say that again?
Offering post-sale customer service. All right. I sell you a thing, right?
Okay.
But you need assistance or consultation with the thing. Via email or chat, if it is initiated through a button on the business's website. I have no idea how obscure that would be. So I have a button on my website versus you and me just emailing or talking over the phone.
You ever log into whether it's a bank or, anything, and they have that little box in the lower right-hand corner of the screen that's like, I'm so-and-so here to answer your question via chat. Like, I think Spectrum does this.
I hate that. Yeah, no one uses that. No one uses that. I have no idea what circumstances would bring about that, but I guess I would just make a call on my phone then and talk to them individually. Note the MTC does not claim that post-sale customer service delivered via email loses a business the protection of PL 86. If a customer finds the business customer support email address and emails the business independently, if the customer calls a customer service representative over the phone based outside the state, or if the business offers an FAQ page on its website, distinctions that are hard to describe as anything but arbitrary. Explain compliance costs to the audience, Chad. Explain that to people.
Compliance costs, the idea is that they shouldn't outweigh the actual benefits that these are meant to Garner, and the feds are actually pretty bad at this because they'll send you a letter that says you owe, a little bit of interest when the cost of actually sending that letter, postage, and time exceeds the benefit.
I'll explain compliance costs a little bit different angle. There are direct financial costs. Like I pay for a gallon of gas, I got to give them $3. Okay, that's a direct
Yeah,
financial cost. Compliance costs are when government come up with regulations, and the most
yeah,
perfect example, this would be the IRS. Every year, you have to incur some compliance costs in preparing your income tax return. Now, you put a financial cost on it, paying an accountant to do it, but if you were to do it yourself, there's a time cost
yeah.
involved with you complying with the laws and the rules of the IRS. Chad, is the IRS the only government agency that has rules?
I wish.
No. The last bank I worked at, may all of you rot in hell, and they are, about, God, 80% of my work was updating the federal investigator, writing reports for the feds, just updating them every week on all the problem loans we had. I was not doing any loans. I was not doing any underwriting. It was merely compliance costs. Is there any real production with me writing compliance cost reports to the federal agents?
Of course not. It's all make work from bureaucracy. It's red tape.
Well, in this case, I could see why the feds were very pissed off at the bank where I was working at. But these compliance costs are not minor. And if they get too burdensome, what happens, Chad?
Well, then people are going to stop complying,
They'll
essentially.
stop complying.
Yeah.
And now you get to go after them with a tremendous legal bill. I mean, cost to you. Or people just, Chad, would I ever, like California, let's say the feds say, yep, you got to pay California state income taxes. What would I do?
Go fuck yourself.
I'd say, no, I'm not doing business in California then, I guess. Too bad for
Yeah.
you. Chad, do welfare bums or illegal immigrants or trophy wives or Gavin Newsom trust fund babies, do they produce anything of value in California?
No.
No,
Of
they
course not.
don't. What would happen to their economy when producers stop producing things for them?
Well, it's going to collapse under its own weight like it's already doing.
Like it's kind of already. California, I hate to tell you this, you need producers. You can't be a society of parasites. It just doesn't work. Someone's got to produce the food. Someone has to generate the electricity. And you've treated your producers like absolute shit. Parasites don't fart out production. You guys just consume. You don't produce. You are costs, not production. And so if you want to fuck around with this, like Chevron left.
Of course they did.
Yeah, they left. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to have oil. Why is gas so expensive in California? I don't know. Do you make it Are you nice to the oil producers? Do you make it? Are there compliance costs?
Clary, we got a really, this is slightly off topic, so I'll make it quick. We got a really nasty compliance cost on the Fed side coming to us that starts in 2024. That's really going to impact tax season in 2025. It's that 1099 mandatory submission for anything over $600.
That's going through, huh?
It was supposed to go through last year, but they gave it a 1-year pause to get people ready for it. Do you know how many people are not going to be aware of that, and how many problems this is going to cause from compliance standpoint?
The nightmare that's going to cause. Chad, let me ask you this: do you think the government's going to get any more money out of that?
No.
Because you're going to spend to get the. Okay, we're not talking $600 of tax revenue. We're talking $600 gross revenue, of which the tax rate is around feds 15%.
Yeah.
So what is that for $70? If the Fed's going to go after the IRS, sorry, the IRS is going to go after people with $100 outstanding tax bill. Are they going to make money or lose money for every agent? You're going to lose so much fucking money.
Let's say I sold you a TV for $650 and you Venmo'd me that. And then, say I don't have a business. All of a sudden I don't even think about it. I do my taxes. Then I get this CP2000 notice. You owe $47.12. It's like, fuck you. I mean,
Chad, which political party did this? I just want to make that for all the people like they're the same party.
This was the Democrats.
It's the Democrats. This is the Democrats. Go fuck yourselves. Everyone's like, oh, they're the same thing. Yeah.
In fact, Kamala Harris broke the tie in the Senate to let this go through. So, yeah.
Support the fuck.
What's up?
I just, I just, man, I can't say it on the internet. I like to do things to people that would make my problems end permanently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
There's a permanent solution to some people. And with the permanent solutions, those problems would be permanently ended.
it'd be handled.
It'd be handled. Distinctions of customer support, email business. If the customer calls customer service over the phone based on offering post-sale customer service in the form of remote repairs or automatic software updates. So all the video game industry would have to pay taxes because you're always updating your video games.
Basically, yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
God almighty. This provision would affect nearly every business selling software, even offering free software necessary to use a tangible physical product, as nearly all such software automatically updates. Soliciting and receiving branded credit card applications through its website, offering and selling extended warranty plans for products purchased through its website, posting open job descriptions, enabling viewers to apply through. Fuck you.
This
You
isn't going
fat
to happen.
herpes infected, tatted up, bullnose ring, single mom of 8 kids from 20 different fathers. Fuck
No.
you, California. No one wants to date you.
You can't enforce this. It's impossible.
Right. And I think that's why I think the client doesn't have really anything to worry about.
No.
Tax treatment of businesses that utilize marketplace facilitators was a controversial element in the post-Wafer economic nexus sales law. Surprise pop up, more business. The states turn. If any states need little encouragement to expand their tax authority over to residents of other states, they are California and New York. It was therefore not surprising when California and New York became the first 2 states to apply to MTC's interpretation. Go ahead. I dare you. I'm not going to read through. I dare California and New York and any other state to do this. I dare you. People they're not. Go ahead. Do it. Find out. Fuck around. Find out. See what happens.
I mean, part of me hopes they do try to do this so I can just watch the show, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm just like, no, I'm not doing it. So here's this question. Can you review the article and let me know first, is it a good or bad thing in your opinion? What's a bad? I'm sorry. Is it a good or bad thing in your opinion if an employer is requiring a remote worker to be a contractor?
No.
No, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
That's a good thing. I mean, usually they want you to be, it's the other way around. They want you to be a W-2 because they can pay you less per hour. And then, Chad, do they actually pay for your health insurance or do they take that out of your check too?
It comes out of your pay. Although I guess maybe they pay a little bit towards it.
Right.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, is it a good thing if an employer is requiring remote workers to be a contractor? Yes, that's a good thing. Yeah. Second, if you're a W-2 employee, what are the pitfalls to avoid in the transition to becoming a 1099, i.e. specific paperwork, filing deadlines that are easy missed, et cetera? There's really only...
You can answer this. Like, what
yeah,
do
I
we
mean,
have to do every quarter?
there's no... The only thing you have to do is previously, if under W-2, your employer is responsible for paying state and federal taxes.
Yeah. Or withholding.
They're withholding it. Right.
Yeah.
That's all the deductions that come on your paycheck. When you're a contractor, you get your gross pay, and now the burden is upon you. You have to pay your taxes at state and federal, and if you're unfortunate enough to live in Ohio or Indiana, local income tax.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and it's a little bit of added work, but not a lot. It really isn't. It's certainly not more than the time that it costs you you're getting the taxes taken out.
Let me just add a quick thing. Like, if this is going to be a long-standing deal where you're going to be a contractor for a while, go ahead and form an LLC and get a business bank account too.
Yeah, and that was the only other thing I was going to say is it's not necessary, but you might as well form an LLC, which you could do filing at the Secretary of State in your state, or if you want to be anonymous, you could do it in New Mexico and Wyoming, I think, through what's called a registered agent, but I think that even that's too advanced. You could form a legal liability corporation, an LLC, that makes it all official. You get an EIN number. Don't ask me how. Go look it up on the internet. There's plenty of instructions on how to do that. And all you're doing is simply setting up a company that would get paid that you own. You get a little bit of legal protections from that, but it's pretty much the exact same thing financially. So that's the only paperwork you really have to do. And the only obligation is you must pay your quarterly taxes, state and federal. and that's about it.
I mean, you want to keep up with bookkeeping because you can write off expenses. So that's the only other
Right. Yeah,
thing.
there is that. But from a policy or procedural standpoint, filing deadlines, no, there really isn't anything. Let me know what the price quote is and things. Yeah, generally, I'd say you almost always, unless you had a family that needs health insurance, you almost always want to go 1099, but you got to require that the hourly rate is high enough that you could afford your own health insurance and contributing to an IRA and paying your taxes. Like you got to make sure that when all those things are taken out, you have enough money that you can live.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd almost in every instance, if you're a single guy or gal, I'd be doing 1099 almost all the time. I don't, Chad, are you ever going back to W-2?
I can't. I'm spoiled for life. I can't
Yeah.
ever do something like that.
Yeah, no, I'll be a contractor until I'm dead. And then if I ever do have to go back to W-2, I'm going to be such a pain in their side. Because it's like, no, I'm not interviewing. No, I'm not talking to Karen in HR. No, I'm not going to DEI meetings. Oh, you're an employee. Fire me and give me unemployment. Fuck off. So I hope that answered this question, but I wouldn't worry about this other states trying to wiggle around and get it. One, I think simply not complying is a very simple strategy. You just don't go to those states. I doubt, given the problems they have, they're going to send out warrants for your arrest. I don't think other states are going to honor or extradite you to California.
No.
And in general, if any entity in your life, whether that's your wife or your husband or your boss or your friend, like you had to get rid of a friend. They became unbearable. You just stop associating with them. If California comes out, well, you all owe us income taxes. Fuck you. I don't do business in California.
Yeah.
Too bad for you guys. So,
I mean, I can at least understand California and some of these other states trying to collect sales tax, for sales made in their states.
Sales made in California. I understand that. Yeah.
But income, forget it. No, not if you don't live there.
No. How about you stop treating everyone like shit so they don't want to leave you? I mean, I'm sorry you're a nation or a state of parasites. But yeah, have you all thought about maybe getting a job? Have you all thought about like not being a bunch of parasites? Seriously, let me know, California. You want to do some super chats?
Sure.
All right, here we go.
Bob for $5. If you don't pay California tax, as long as you don't come to or live in Cali as remote guy, would you be in trouble? I mean, even if you are in trouble, what are they going to do to you?
Yeah, I have a hard time. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't say definitively, but fuck off. No, I'm not. I mean, one, I don't think they can do anything to you legally. Like they can't come after you. Now, this is why I talk about like, well, wait, do you have a bank account with Wells Fargo or is your retirement savings at a company based in California? Then they can fuck with you. You say, well, you're not allowed to pay that person out until they pay their owed taxes. So another reason to further remove yourself from California, like audit all your accounts and things that you use. Are they based in California? Well, then get the fuck out. But me personally, a state that I don't live in comes in and says, I owe you income taxes and okay, there's extradition. Nope. That's hockey mask time. That is not going to happen. It will not happen.
And I'm skeptical that a bank would be able to, garnish your wages just because the banks is in a state there like that. Banks are very federal to me. So
they're very federal, but
yeah.
I could see it where they're threatened at the state level, like, oh, well, do you want us to start taxing your property taxes at this? And then they would start confiscating your assets. And now kind of similar to a client that you had where now we got to go file a return to get it back. I could see them just fucking with you, even if it was outside the bounds of federal law. I could see them doing it and making your life hell. It just, and now that this, I didn't know about this 2 years ago. Yeah, I'm going to start auditing my stuff. Like, okay, what do I rely on that's in California? Like, really, I want nothing to do with that state.
What we're talking about now, they're based in California, YouTube and Google. Chase Robideau for $1.99. Enforcing this would cause major issues. I think it's impossible to enforce.
I'd love to see you. Yeah, go ahead, spend $8 billion to go maybe make $100 million.
Sea Blaster 1 for $1.99. What is that? Pounds?
Pounds.
Are you shorting Tesla and when will it collapse?
I don't short stocks.
They're
Uh,
not in
I,
Cali anymore.
no, they're not. I think they moved off to Texas.
Yeah.
I generally don't short stocks because they can always go up to infinity. You can bankrupt yourself that way. And I don't know when it'll collapse. I don't follow Tesla at all. I follow Ubisoft and video game companies more than I do any other companies nowadays.
Nonstop Dre for $2. But Cappy, California has the nice weather. Yeah.
Dude, I
And
actually heard a
earthquakes.
hedge fund manager. I was in San Diego and I'm like, and the guy was obviously wealthy. I'm like, dude, why are you here? Beautiful weather, man. I'm like, fuck, that is some expensive weather. Some really expensive weather.
Naughty DJ Aftershock for $2. But Cappy, my social issues are more important.
As long as the liberal rich white women of Marin County, California are happy. Now here, this is one, we should be paying him.
Arcady.
We should be paying him, but he is a lawyer in California, so he should be able to say. So why don't you go ahead and read this? I appreciate this professional insight.
Arcady, I've been a fan of your channel since 2008. So
Arcady, I've been a
awesome.
fan of you since you've been giving me $100 super chats.
$100. Guys, as someone who is involved in various employee contractor misclassification disputes in California, this state's anti-1099 policy is incompatible with the basic notion of freedom to contract that this economy was based on in the first place. And it's pathetic. It is pathetic.
Yeah.
It's
well, and that's what I'm thinking is California is going to fuck with you. And it's not legal. And they know they can get away with it and claim and feign like, oops, we didn't mean to take our taxes out of your pension payment. But that's what they would do. They would start to resorting to this underhanded, sneaky, mafia-like tactics. And I bet you Arcadia has a ton of discussions and And now here, Chad, I'm a pensioner. I got to go sue the state of California because they're not paying me out. Is this compliance costs?
It's a very big compliance cost. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for the $100 and the insight, Arcady. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Arcady. Plus, Clary has to split it with me, which is even...
Yeah, split it. This is great.
Bart Simpson, $2. What about the U.S. Treasury and BOI rules? I actually did a whole stream on the BOI thing, and Clary was there. It takes 5 minutes. If you have an LLC, just do it.
Yeah, I mean, the BOI, I did that myself. What's the U.S. Treasury rules? What I don't know. What did they come up with some rules?
I don't know what that is. Bart, if you're in the chat still, I'll see if you have a clarifying comment.
You know this guy?
I know Ray John. $2 Canadian. Have you tried a drink called Dixon Cider? Well, you don't drink, so
no.
I
think he's asking you.
Oh, I don't really like cider that much, but I haven't tried. I'll look it up.
Let me look it up. Let me see if you drink it or not. I can tell just by looking it up.
I'm gonna Google it too. Dixon
Cider is a video.
This better not be something perverted, Ray John.
Ray John, I don't think he would drink Dixon cider because the can is not ridiculous douchebag millennial artsy enough. It looks like a pretty well designed Dixon cider. The can looks kind of normal, so Chad would want nothing to do with it. The more it looks like it's been drawn by a special needs, 5-year-old with a shot of millennial blood in him, then he's got to drink that. But it looks like a regular beer can. I don't think Chad would like it.
Well, I'm just glad it wasn't a 70-year-old porn actress like he kept doing at one time. I forgot her name, thank goodness. Cynic, what's up? For $5. Any stream with Chad Thunder Tax is a good stream. Well, thank you, Cynic. I would have to agree.
Thunder Tax.
Thunder Tax.
Oh man, that's good. I hope Cynic's doing well. One of the original van life guys before it went pop. All right, there it is. Well, thank you, Chad, very much for coming on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
I hope we did answer the guy, but generally, yes. Even in the specter or the possibility of California and New York trying to steal your money, I would not let that deter you from becoming part of the 1099 superior race. In general, if I was a IT guy or anyone, I'd prefer 1099. And go ahead, get remote work if you can, but those are two separate issues. 1099 versus remote work. Those are two different issues you have to negotiate with your boss or your client. But generally, obviously, yes, remote work and 1099. That would be the best combination of both. Anything else you'd want to add?
No, just that don't be scared if you've never been to California and you're never going to go to California and you get some letter from the California Franchise Tax Board that's like, well, in 2021, you earned, $678 from somebody based there. You owe us some tax. Like, fuck you.
Fuck you, I'm not
Yeah.
paying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Chad, is
Yeah.
there a field or profession that lends itself very well to remote employment and
Yes.
1099 work? Is there a field in the world that would allow for that?
There is, and there's also there may be a course out there that
There's a course? A
yeah.
conveniently compiled course that would teach me everything I know about how to attain self-employment and remote work in this lucrative field?
Would you like to know the name of the course?
I would love to know the name of this life-changing course.
The world's greatest accounting career.
Good. Okay, B+. I'll give it, yeah. Oh, by the way, I screwed up. I was doing Cary Grant, and you said, frankly, darling, I don't give a damn. That was Clark Gable
Oh,
in, and then you said Casablanca. That's why I said Humphrey Bogart. That was Clark Gable in Gone with the
Gone
Wind.
with the Wind. Yeah.
Here's Looking at You, Kid, is
Yeah.
Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
And have you or the candidate ever watched Cary Grant flicks?
She and I haven't, but I have. My dad, I've watched some old movies with my dad, and I've seen some with him.
All right.
Yeah.
Because me and the GF were talking, and she's like, "Oh, you didn't know who Cary Grant was?" I'm like, "Not really. I don't think so."
No,
You guys should watch. We're trying to figure out which one you guys should watch. Go watch Operation Petticoat with Cary Grant.
Operation Petticoat.
Yeah, it's not too much of a romance movie like An Affair to Remember, and it's not a serious one like Destination Tokyo, though the ones that Cary Grant was in that was serious. But yeah, Operation Petticoat is pretty good, and then I always liked Father Goose. It's not it's like it would never happen, but I love the interaction between him and the other people in the movie. It's a very charming movie.
Well, I will keep that in mind. I'll make a note of these.
Cool. All right. When should we hang out?
Soon.
Soon.